It was once called a weird and scenic landscape, peculiar to itself. Today, it's part of one of the most remarkable national parks in the country. More than 752,000 acres of jagged lava rock and sagebrush. Strange and mysterious. It feels like another world. For generations, it was mostly unknown, unexplored. But today, this land has become something special. A place of discovery, where everyday travelers, scientists, even NASA astronauts all come to find out more about our planet. Here, among the craters of the moon. For thousands of years, most people avoided this region. Folks on the Oregon Trail, miners, ranchers, none of them wanted to stop here. The dried out lava beds were just an obstacle to get past. All that changed in 1920 with an explorer named Robert W. Limbert. He would undertake a 17-day, 50-mile odyssey. No one had ever mapped this area before. But Limbert gave names to the nameless places, carefully documenting them with his camera. Echo Crater, Vermilion Chasm, Trench Mortar Flat. Limbert recorded his adventures in a 1924 National Geographic magazine, an article that would come to define this landscape. Its title, Among the Craters of the Moon. So how did this strange landscape come into being? It all started with lava. This area may look dead, but it's alive. In fact, a great tear in the earth runs right through here, allowing molten rock to rise to the surface. And every 2,000 years or so, that's exactly what happens. 8 major eruptive periods in the past 15,000 years. Lava flows and fiery cinder fountains create a wide variety of cones and other volcanic features here on Idaho's Snake River Plain. This flowing rock was left behind, all part of the largest young lava field in the mainland United States. Because most of it was formed less than 10,000 years ago, the rock here is young and well preserved. And that's why this is an amazing spot for visitors. You can actually see how our Earth is shaped.
I love taking visitors here because you can see the line of cinder cones going off into the distance along the Great Rift. All the lava oozed out right there. A 52-mile-long fissure that's the heart of the park.
Nearly 250,000 people come each year to see this volcanic wonderland in the heart of Idaho. Some of the lava poured out like a river in slow motion, covering the land in thin sheets of black rock. And some of the lava sprayed high into the air and rained down as cinders. It created all of these volcanic features: lava flows, spatter cones, cinder cones. There are very few places on our continent like it, places where our world has been so recently formed. Craters of the Moon is a massive park. Located in southern Idaho, on the Snake River Plain. 752,000 acres of jagged rocks and sagebrush. From North Crater to Big Cinder Butte. From spatter cones to the caves area. Most visitors start their exploration with this 7-mile stretch of road. This is the gateway to Craters of the Moon. It offers easy access to trails that take you over, under, and around a variety of incredible volcanic features. And in winter, it turns into a spectacular ski trail. For skiers of all ages and skill levels. A winding ribbon of snow through the volcanoes. A spectacular landscape in black and white for a great adventure.
Craters is an amazing experience in winter. Backcountry skiing through the cinder cones is like nothing else. Imagine skiing on a volcano. That's so cool.
And there's more than just skiing here. Rangers lead walks throughout the year. They guide visitors along the little-known trails and explain the diverse natural wonders they find.
They fill up on energy, and then they kind of just shut their body down for wintertime.
This stunning landscape was visited by the Shoshone-Bannock tribes for thousands of years. A deep connection to the land is still alive today.
Craters of the Moon is a natural wonder. It's always been an experience for us. Many of our people return many times to the lands of our ancestors. It would seem like there's no life in those lava flows, but our people moved through there, and we have history throughout the whole area.
Not everyone was able to thrive among the lava fields. The early travelers and ranchers stayed away. But it was Robert Limbert whose vision helped change our national perspective over time.
It is the play of light at sunset across this lava that charms the spectator. It becomes a twisted, wavy sea. It varies even while one stands and watches. It is a place of color and silence.
In 1924, President Calvin Coolidge established Craters of the Moon as a national monument. It was expanded by 4 different presidents. And in 1970, it became the very first National Park Service site to garner a wilderness designation. One popular and easy-to-access destination is the spatter cones. Great globs of lava erupted and stuck to each other to form these cones.
So we're going to go ahead and make our way up to the top of the spatter cone.
You can walk the trail right up to the edge and peer into the heart of the Great Rift.
After our cinder cones formed, the spatter cones are our last burst of volcanic activity. So you can see all around the little globs of spatter, which named these structures the spatter cones. They're basically small globs of molten lava getting ejected from the earth and sticking together to form the walls of the structure while they were still molten.
But perhaps the most amazing action happens underground. There are 5 different caves visitors can travel through. One of the favorites is Indian Tunnel. For all sorts of visitors, from seniors to school children, another kind of adventure begins here.
We're standing upon the last lava flow that came through here about 2,000 years ago. If you look around, you can see all kinds of amazing features. You can see drips of lava that were coming off the ceiling. If you look at the walls, you can see where it remelted the walls as the lava flowed through.
There are 5 lava tube caves to explore at Craters of the Moon. Some adventures not everyone goes on. In a remote section of the preserve, a team of caving experts is heading off on a journey into the heart of the Great Rift. It's not for the faint of heart. The team is climbing down into the darkness to investigate important data deep inside the rift itself. Just 2,000 years ago, searing lava shot through this fissure, right up to the surface. Now, instead of fire, it's all ice. A cathedral of ice, with giant crystals some 50 feet high.
Every year, our team comes in to survey the cave to see how the ice is doing. We're several hundred feet underground, so it's not very easy to get here. For safety reasons, we can't stay here for long, but the time that we spend here is magical. It's like no place else on Earth.
This is just one of the incredible underground worlds at Craters of the Moon, and the cavers say there are more still to be discovered. Above ground, the lava landscape combines some of the harshest aspects of the desert and the Arctic. The extremes of summer heat and winter chill in one place on the globe.
You are snowshoeing on what used to be molten lava about 2,000 years ago. It feels empty, but we're not alone out here.
Even in this stark setting, there is a remarkable diversity of life. Almost 300 species of animals make a home here. Over 750 different types of plants have been found here as well. Delicate wildflowers bloom in late May into June, fueled by springtime showers. From bitterroot to silver-leaf phacelia and the dwarf buckwheat. When this kaleidoscope of wildflowers breaks out on the black cinder slopes of these volcanoes, they call it a cinder garden. An explosion of life in the heart of one of the most brutal terrains on Earth. These days, researchers and biologists are monitoring the animals that live here, carving out a life in an unearthly setting. The team is studying the pika, a small mammal that inhabits the endless labyrinth of cracks and fissures in the lava at Craters of the Moon.
The pika is kind of the canary in the coal mine for climate change. It's a species adapted to living in cold environments. With rising temperatures, it's going to be one of the first species affected. We'll run a tape north and south, going 12 meters in either direction, and then a tape east and west, and that gives us our 24-meter circle. In that circle, we're going to measure the vegetation cover for pika sign, for scat, for hay piles. This work we're doing here is part of work that's going on across several national parks that have pika that'll help us predict where they're going to be in 50, 100 years.
I have an old hay pile 8 meters away from plot center.
The scientists here believe that the range and health of the pika and other similar creatures at Craters may tell us more about our own future on Earth. This unusual world has drawn many here, even the scientists of NASA. For several Apollo astronauts, this was the first otherworldly terrain they were sent to walk before they made it to the moon. In 1969, NASA dispatched 4 astronauts to Idaho, here to Craters of the Moon, to train for their trip to the great unknown. And it was here that they prepared to work with lunar geology and rock samples. Now, NASA is coming back as they prepare to send astronauts even further into the solar system, to Mars.
We're here at Craters of the Moon in order to learn how to send humans to Mars so they can do science and explore and make discoveries.
It's a 5-year investigation with an all-star cast of researchers and future astronauts. Using this landscape to stand in for Mars and other planets, to understand the roughness of the terrain.
The people that are out doing the Mars simulation walk around, they're doing real science. The only simulated part is that we're putting them in a Mars simulation condition. So there's a time delay between the field and back here at the trailer. We can learn what it takes, whether it's the software, the hardware, or the organization of people and our protocols in order to manage through those very complex situations.
Okay, so I've got our first biology sample going in 133, biology sample going in here.
They're flying drones over the Great Rift to collect data, using remote sensing to see how satellite data transmissions might work. With lives on the line, this is the place they're coming to run their simulations. The closest thing to a distant planet on Earth.
Right here in Idaho, a miniature replica of the moon country. A riot of color and fantastic shapes. So unearthly as to make one believe himself on another planet.
No matter who the visitor is, an early American pioneer, a NASA astronaut, or a traveler like you, everyone who comes here discovers a new world. And that's what keeps drawing so many back to this place. Here at Craters of the Moon, the exploration is just beginning.